Hello, YouTube. Today is a very special day because today is my birthday. So, as a gift to like the 3 subscribers I have, I'm gonna marathon doing deck profiles. Well, only 3. Maybe if I come up with another one, I'll do 4. Just all day, just to give back to the few people that actually watch and enjoy my videos. So, to start things off, we're going to do a spell counter deck I made. Uh, if you know, the main purpose of a spell counter deck is to play a lot of spell cards, rack up spell counters, and have the monsters get the effects off that. So we're going to do this a little differently, and I'm going to start off with the spell cards first. So first off, we have the field spell, Magical Symbol of Endymion. Each time a spell card is played, this card gains a spell counter. If this card would be destroyed by a card effect, you can remove a spell counter to save it. Once per turn, if an effect would remove spell counters from another card to activate an effect, you can remove spell counters from this card instead. And if a monster would be, or if a monster is destroyed that has spell counters on it, you can put the spell counters that were on the monster onto this card. So it gathers up spell counters pretty quickly, and it's a very reliable field spell because if it has a spell counter on it and your opponent tries to MST or Heavy Storm it, a spell counter will get removed from it, and then when MST or Heavy Storm resolves, it'll gain the spell counter back. So, very good card. And of course, the deck revolves around the spell cards, so I have to run the 3 terraforming, and I have ways to get rid of it. I just need to get to the spell card as soon as possible. I run the staple Monster Reborn, Dark Hole. Don't run Heavy Storm just because couldn't really fit room, and I have ways to get around it. Run a Lure of Darkness because a lot of the monsters I run are dark, and I need to rack up those spell counters and thin through the deck. We are in 3 Spell Power Grasp. I can place 1 spell counter on 1 face-up card that can hold a spell counter, and then I can search my deck for another one of these. Unfortunately, I can only play them once per turn. So that's 2 spell counters on 1 spell counter on this field spell, if it's the only one there. If I have something else, then it gains spell counters too. 2 Duality, search for the combo pieces, get monsters to my hand, because one problem I have with this deck is that I don't get to as many monsters as I would like. Run 3 Upstarts, because I draw 1 card and it's a spell counter. Makes it a 37 card deck. 1 Day Apiece, because this deck takes a few turns to set up, so I can stall a little bit. And we'll get in the spell counters and drawing. Then we run a Megaton Magical Cannon. By removing 10 spell counters on my side of the field, I can destroy all cards on my opponent's side of the field. So while I'm setting up, trying to get as many spell counters on this card and getting to my monsters, my opponent will most likely be committing to the field, trying to put their big monsters on board and setting their back row. And then when I'm ready to go off, I can play this card, blow up their entire field, and then summon my big monsters and get in there and start getting damage. Then I run 3 Toon Table of Contents. They search out each other, and that's just more spell counters. And then 2 Toon World, because a lot of the time I'll have 2 contents in my hand, and that way I can just search out the Toon Worlds. And then at the cost of 1,000 life points, it's a free spell counter. Not a big fan of it, but it works. Then going to the monsters, I run 3 Breaker. This is why I don't run MST, because this card just pops the back row anyway. And in League with Magical Symbol, I can pretty much pop 2 spell cards. And I would like to point out that even though a monster doesn't have spell cards on it, so let's say, or spell counters, even if Breaker doesn't have a spell counter on it, I can still use this effect if this has a spell counter on it. Then we will run Magical Explanar. Every time a spell card is played, this card gains 2 spell counters. And I can remove as many spell counters up to a level of a monster I have in the grave that's a spellcaster, and special summon it. This collects spell counters very quickly, which gathers the 10 very quickly with this card. And if it's destroyed, the spell counters go to here. It's just a very good card. I run 2 Magical Libraries, because if I play this card's on the field, and this card's on the field, Sindel and Library, and I'm going off playing all these spell cards, searching to my other spell cards and drawing, I can remove the 3 spell counters that it collects to draw 1 more to keep the combos going. I run 2 Summoner Monks because this deck will sometimes have dead spells such as Toon World, or if I'm not in the mood to use magical and not in a position to use Magical Ton. And it lets me special summon Explanar or Realm Mystical Library. The boss monsters of the deck are Endymion, the Master Magician. By removing 6 spell counters off the field spell, I can special summon this card from my hand, and if it's special summoned this way, I can add 1 spell card from my grave back to my hand. So this lets me use big cards like Monster Reborn and Magical Ton Cannon, Allure of Darkness, that kind of thing. And once per turn, I can discard 1 spell card to destroy 1 card on the field. So if my opponent has, let's see, a big monster I can't get over, I can destroy that card, or maybe destroy some back row, and go for some big damage. And then to end things off with the monsters, I run 3 Malefic Cyber End Dragons. It's a very powerful monster, and it's a very reliable monster. And since this card is very difficult to destroy by effect means, I can almost guarantee that my opponent has to destroy this by other means, such as spell or traps. And if they use spells, I will be racking up spell counters. And then I'm just going to do a quick overlay of the extra deck because there's only or a few cards that really matter. 3 Cyber End Dragons for the Malefics. Gunman, because it's a level 4, it can get over 3000s, or it can give me that 800 burn I need to go for game. Pearl is just a 26 beater. Kachikochi lets me get 2 attacks in, very good. Dijin lets me stall some more, and it's just a Book of Moon on legs. Shockmaster is just a very good card. It's going to become staple as of, I'd say, today, when everyone can get it out of the tins. Utopia, I find staple. Black Corn, it lets me destroy things like Spirit Reaper that I couldn't normally get over. Utopia Ray, just a combo with Utopia. Papral Operative lets me get over defense monsters. Roach for those Chaos Dragons. And 2 Alchemic Magicians. This card gains 200 attack for every spell card in my grave. And if I have 10 spells in grave, it gains 2,000 extra attack, putting it at 35. And during my end phase, I can detach 1 material and send 1 card from my hand to the grave, choose 1 spell from my deck, and put it in my spell and trap card zone. So just a very good card overall. That's the deck. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.